Hey again. Hey, Tilly. Welcome back to Piper's Pop-Ups and Vintage Campers. This is our 56 Aljo. First day was spent removing all the windows and doors and all the outer compartment. And as you can see, like with most of these, there's a lot of water damage. What's interesting to me is some of these boards look like they're brand new. And look at that color. And then others, not so much. So obviously we're just going to remove all the skin, take it back down to the frame and start over. But I'm doing it piecemeal and saving everything because you never know what you're going to need. We spend most of our time working on pop-ups, and same applies there. You know, you just keep everything until the end. This one came to us from Nebraska, and it was interesting. The fellow we bought it from traded a case of beer for it. Thought he'd work on it, he didn't. So it's been sitting in his yard for a year. Prior to that, it's been about 20 years in a Nebraska field as basically a playhouse for someone's grandchildren. But these are the 4 holes that were in the door side. I guess they'd be the curb side. And we, for the life of us, cannot figure out what those would have ever been for. Now, they go all the way through, as you can see there. They're not even, you know, different heights, different widths, everything. Because, you know, initially you might think, oh, someone had a stove. They patched the hole. Sure. Okay, then what's that for? Maybe there's a lower stove hole. Sure. But what are these for? No idea. And they go right into the frame. So, and then on the interior, you can see they had to patch the holes that they made. That one was done pretty well. This one just had that silver plate on it. Same thing over here, patch. So for the life of us, we can't figure out what would have come all the way through this camper. But now that we're in, I'll show you what we've got. We gutted it yesterday when we were taking the windows out. Took all the doors off and all the hardware. We want to save all that. We probably won't reuse any of it, but we will certainly use it as templates. You can see here, say, hey, Rooster. That's Rooster. We're going to reuse the sliding doors on both the upper cabinets. I'm doing my best to salvage these upper cabinets. One of the challenges that I've found with these vintage canned hams that we didn't find on pop-ups so much, everything is nailed, you know, which is beautiful. I love the look of this, but boy, it is difficult to take apart without damaging this, you know, 60-year-old wood. Older than that, actually. Anyway, so this is the inside. Obviously, it has the expected water damage. Doesn't matter. We're replacing all of this. I haven't taken this window out yet because of the size of it, but they'll be coming out in a minute. All these are gone. I'm going to reuse all of this old aluminum trim. It's in excellent condition. Here's the back where the bed was. We think this has been altered over the years. This wood looks newer. The frame, although it's lined up generally where the other one would have been, this storage box to me doesn't look original. And one of the telltale signs is the way the door was hung. Somebody, at one point it was hinged here as a, excuse me, Rooster. And then at one point it was also hinged at the top. You can see the outlines on the actual door. It could be original because the welting looks original. It's just interesting, the whole thing. I mean, after all these years, so much has been done to these things, who knows. We are going to turn this into a gaucho bed. Specifically a kind of a dinette bench, although the dinette's up there. It's going to wrap around. This will be open then. And that way you can sit. There'll be reading lights, etc. And then it can convert into a bed. So that's our plan for this. We're going to keep it as original as possible, but this doesn't make as much sense as the other, as our plan. So that's what we're going to do. The old water tank. This camper did not smell bad, y'all, I promise you, until I cut the lines on that water tank. Oh my Lord, it smelled like someone had been using it as a bathroom for the last however many years. Here's our kitchen. Again, the stove's in excellent condition. I'll show you that when I get to the point of refinishing it, but it looks great. It's that classic white. The cabinet itself is in really good condition. It's made of a little stouter material than most of this. Not all plywood, in other words. But when you get down here, of course, under the sink, things are going to be wet. They're going to have rotted. So, unfortunately, I'm probably going to have to rebuild all this. I'm going to try to rebuild it with all the original wood that I can and only replace the rotten parts. Because to me, if you're going to do these projects and replace everything but the frame, then you might as well have just started with the frame and built up. You know, the charm of these is that this original craftsmanship and all of the hardware. So that's our goal. But you can see there was a rat's nest under the ice box, which isn't pleasant. So that'll all have to be gutted. We're going to reuse the sink. Excellent condition. My goal is to clean this up and reuse the city water supply faucet. I think that is just cool. This was the hand pump. It's a Coleman pump for the reservoir. We're going to reuse that as well. I'm not just going to put it there for looks. It's going to be operational. That's my goal. The lighting, I'm surprised, given the year, and I'm convinced this may not be original, but I just don't know. The wiring makes me suspect. This is plastic, and I think something this old would have had a metal, and then of course the dome was plastic, and it's just not that charming, so we're going to replace that regardless. This is original. This light we know was here before. It's very cool. We'll do our best to reuse that. There's another one of these plastic kind of puck lights up here. We don't love them, but again, to stay true to the original, we'll do what we can to save them. So I'm going to step back out, show you what the frame looks like. Not surprisingly, around the door, all this is rotten. My goal is to salvage as much of this so I can use this entire thing as a template, but I'm starting to question whether that's going to be feasible. If it just falls apart as soon as I take the tin off. I want to show you one of the windows on this. This is actually the door slat window. It is in excellent condition. Of course, we're going to clean and reuse these, but the reason I'm showing you this is to show you that that window wasn't the louvered, it was the push out. Excellent shape. We had a louvered window here and another push out on the side. Excellent condition. I mean, it's amazing that these things hold up like they do. So those will be cleaned and re-entered. We had one broken pane of glass. Imagine that after all this time, one broken pane of glass. So this is our Aljo. Let me show you the tin. So this isn't, unfortunately, someone had painted over it, but there's that iconic Aljo wing. Very cool, right? Somebody did an okay job repainting this, but we're gonna strip it all down. It obviously at one point had that teal and white. We're probably going to go back with a buttercream yellow and white. My wife's leaning that way. But right now the goal is to remove all the original tin. It's an amazing shape. Strip it, clean it, prime it, and reuse it. With the exception, unfortunately, of this side with the 4 mysterious holes. I just can't imagine that I could patch those adequately. Like I could make that one up there, you know, a light, you know, just a curb light or something. That I could pass. But the other 3, I mean, what are those going to be? I'm not going to have 4 lights on the side of the thing or 4 vents or whatever, you know, to make it look. So unfortunately, we'll probably have to replace, if not this section, the entire side. Found a place who can match the original 6-inch spacing. There are a couple of companies out there, I'm sure you've all seen them. One, the maximum they'll go is 4, and this is a 6. The other can do a 6, and of course they just sell it to you in a roll. Comes white, you paint it. It's easy peasy, but it is expensive. You have to pay for shipping. Everybody knows what fuel costs are doing now. So we're debating. Plus, again, if I'm going to put all new tin and all new timbers and all new hardware, then it's not a vintage camper. It's just a camper I built to look like one. So anyway, that's where we are. It's day 2, right, Birdie? Day 2, getting started. We're gonna keep up with this as we go. It certainly won't be regular, but when we get to milestones, I'm gonna put more videos out there. Because if you're like me, videos have been critical in my learning how to do pop-ups, and now learning about canned hams. I really have enjoyed Conan's. I think it's Conan. He does trash to trailer to treasure, something like that. Anyway, I should probably know the name of it. I've watched so many of his videos. I really enjoyed that. He's out of Kansas City, which ironically, if I didn't say before, moved to Nebraska for this camper. anywhere near Nebraska. It's one of the reasons no one was going to buy it. It was a great deal, in really good shape, but the guy was in Nebraska, and all the comments were, man, I'd love to have it, but you're in Nebraska. And my wife and I were crazy enough, we were like, we'll drive to Nebraska. Had a long weekend, we'll do it. Loaded up our daughter and we went. I don't recommend it. Wore us out, but it was well worth it. We brought a trailer, some tires, and the fellow we bought it from in Nebraska was super helpful. Neighbors pulled us out of the snow. I mean, it was a whole thing, but he spent, a couple of hours helping us get it loaded up, which we were very grateful for. And so, anyway, that's where we are. We're going to get this thing back to, hopefully, my goal, showroom new. It'll have all the new amenities, LEDs, etc., but it should look like something that rolled off the floor in '56. That's my goal. So I'll keep you updated. Thanks.